Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with the 21 EMA. So I've got the overnight highs up here and the overnight lows down here. These are our key levels for the day. So starting off, I started trading at 8 Central Time, which is inside of this congestion right here. And so first we have this uptrend break and then two legs at a new high. We push off, that forms the overnight high, it makes this double top. And so we have this push down, we get this break, start making a second push down, and so we can draw this measured move that's in play. And we push lower here. Before we reach that measured move, we go into this range, we break out, and now most breakouts fail. So we can look to fade this range right here. We have the range, we break out, we can expect price to fade back down. And so considering we have this measured move still in play, and also that measured move bringing us to the overnight low, which means we're playing the range rules here, because and the range rules are, when you come off one side of a range, you can expect price to reach the other side. And so considering that, and this measured move, it's good that we get a breakout here that we can look for a fade. And so you can see first entry short, second entry short. It's not a real big picture trade. It's just a lower high after a second entry. And it's pretty sideways, but you can still tell, even though it's sideways, if you can tell what prices are doing, you can still enter the trade. So we can tell we have this first entry short, second entry short. So that's basically on a very small picture. You can see that uptrend break, new high, and then we immediately rush back below, get this lower high. Notice how this green bar here, it ticked higher and then just flushed all the way down to the bottom. So that's a trap. It ticks higher. Immediately you're entering on the stops of those who bought above this bar. Their entry order would get filled one tick above. They have their stops underneath the bar. We're entering short on these longs stop losses right there. So that's a trap. That's why I like that trade right there. Lower high trap right after that second entry, fading this congestion with this measured move in play. So that's why I like that. We push lower here. Of course, target 1-to-1, target at the lows of this range here. You don't want to expect it to push all the way out. So anyway, we push lower here. We reach the overnight low. So at this point, the measured move is reached at the overnight low. So this is the perfect area to expect a reversal. Even though we can see we have this downtrend forming right here, we have those three bounces, we have these lows here. We can expect a possible attempt at a reversal here. And so it's not surprising we get these two pushes up here. So we get this first entry short, second entry short. And now at this point right here, this is where I would expect a reversal pattern to form. Now the only reason I don't like this entry right here, you can see the first entry short, second entry short failure. So that's a failed second entry. This downtrend here only has a break and then this one push at a new low. And so there's really no reason to enter on this reversal pattern here. There's no reason to take this long. Downtrend break, first attempt at a new low. You want to see it two attempts at a new low, not just one. So I don't like entering on that. So we push lower here, we start forming that second leg down, and then we get this correction here. It's very choppy correction, but we don't quite reach the EMA. We push lower, and then at this point we get this downtrend right here. We can get those highs, and then we can look for a short off of it right here, but unfortunately there's just no clean setup here. This signal bar, it's breaking out the highs, so it's clearly not resisting off of this. And then this is already closing way too low to enter short, so unfortunately nothing there. We push lower here, we correct back, we chop around that trend line for a bit, finally pushing above the EMA. And so you can see on this bigger picture here, we have downtrend, break, new low, and just reverse. So you can look for smaller trades within that, but the bigger picture is showing that we have a downtrend, break, new low, and that's how trends play out. They attempt to make a new extreme after they break. And so considering this downtrend has played out at the overnight low, or we can expect a fade, that just works out perfectly with the downtrend has played out, which means we can look for longs more safe while we're expecting to fade this overnight low. And so we can look for a reversal pattern here. This time the downtrend has played out, so there's no worrying about, like I was talking about, this downtrend having a break and only one attempt at a new low. It's already played out at this point, so we can just take a failed second entry. But it doesn't set up very good here. We can see first entry short, second entry short, failure, except it doesn't even reach the EMA. You want to see a clear push down to the EMA on a reversal pattern like that. You don't want to take anything that's not holding onto the EMA. So we push up, we go into this uptrend. We have uptrend, break, two pushes to a new high, very typical, and then we immediately rush back below the EMA. So when you get a fade of a range, so we have this range here, we're fading back in, and then the uptrend has already played out with two attempts at a new high, and then we just rush below the EMA. That means that you're not expecting the range rules to play out all the way because the uptrend already played out before reaching the highs. And so when we rush back below the EMA like that, that's the time to look for a short, a reversal pattern back down, and basically just accepting that this range isn't strong to the long side. And so that would be the place to look for shorts right when that uptrend plays out, but we don't get any clear reversal pattern. We have this first entry long, second entry long failure, except it doesn't even reach the EMA. It's basically just dropping straight down. You don't know for sure that that's going to work. What could easily happen is it tick lower here and then just push up to the EMA and give a more clear failed second entry. And then you'd get stopped out and then it would go right where you thought it would. But here it just plummets straight down. We push back above. So yeah, there's quite a gap between these two trades here, but there's just unfortunately nothing I really like in here. And so we almost retest that overnight low here, and then we just push back above. This, once again, would be a good place to look for a failed second entry, because even though that uptrend played out with those two legs and immediately rushed back below, like I always say, price action levels get bigger as more time goes on. We can tell that on a bigger picture, that's really one leg higher there, and we can expect a possible second leg. Notice this measured move here. And so when we retest or nearly retest and rush back above, we can look for a failed second entry again. First entry short, second entry short failure, but we just don't get that. We just rush above with this one leg, goes sideways, and we get this higher low. And by the way, I see this to the tick right there. I see that first entry short right there with that tick lower and then the second entry. To me, this is really just one spike up and then a higher low. I don't count every individual tick that goes by. It's more about the context for me with the way I trade. But we really just got this one higher low doji bar completely sideways. No reason to really take that. It could just keep chopping around after you get triggered, after you get swept into the trade. So we push up here. We go into this uptrend right here, and that's the second leg up here. So notice we have this first leg up, break, second leg up. We reach that measured move as we're breaking out of the overnight high. We break out, so now we can expect prices to attempt to fade. And so when you break out, you don't want to immediately buy the breakout as soon as you start to see it push out of the highs. There's two things that could happen after you break out. You can either look for a fade entry, which would be most likely another failed second entry pushing back below, so a reversal pattern where you push below the EMA and you get a first entry long, second entry long failure, except you don't get that here. So if price does not want to fade, then the way to look to buy with the breakout is you want to look for two clear attempts to fade, and then you enter on the failure to fade, and so that's how you get in on the breakout. So you just have to stay with whatever is most prevalent. If you're fading and you're getting below that EMA, you look for a reversal pattern. If price is rejecting the fade and it's trying to break out, then you look to buy with the breakout after two clear attempts to fade. Then you get in on that failure. And so I missed out on something here. So you see how we're going sideways right here. At first I had this a little bit lower, and then you can see we had that first attempt to fade, and then we push back up, and then we get this second attempt to fade. These couple legs down right here are that second leg on a bigger picture. So we have these two legs down trying to fade, and we're starting to go sideways here. And then I do like this long right here if you can get in with a limit order with room, which I was unable to. But if you could have gotten in with a limit order with room to those highs, I don't mind pushing it out a tick or so, but then I do like that right there. But I wouldn't enter with a stop on that because you'd have to push it quite a bit out of this range right here. You just don't want to risk that. And so anyway, we push up here. So after this first attempt to fade, second attempt to fade, then we push up and we get this higher low right here. Notice how it's higher low from over here. You can see at first you get this push down right here, and then it chops to the side a bit. You can see to the tick it's a second entry. That's not what I'm concerned. I'm not taking this as a second entry right there. That's not what I'm concerned about. I'm taking this as a higher low right after two attempts to fade. It failed to fade, and then we push up and make a higher low, holding on this range right here that's forming. And then I did extend it to this double top right there, and then it matched with that body better. And so I had a little bit more room, and I did have to push it one tick out, but which I'm going to remove that because I didn't take that. But anyway, so that's why I like that there. That's a one tick back limit order trade. So anyway, moving on, the reason I did 1-to-1, of course, I see that it pushed way out here. You don't know it's going to push all the way out like that. So at this point, during this trade, We have just been going in this range all day, and then you get this small range right above. You got to keep the target within the range. You don't know if it's gonna, barely reach it and then continue going sideways there. But sometimes it's just gonna push on out like that. But you don't know it's gonna do that. The whole day has been a range. You can't bet on it just suddenly turning into a huge uptrend day or a big spike up. So anyway, we push up here, we push back lower here, we get this first entry pushing below the EMA. What I would like to see is, which let me quickly adjust this trend line actually. So we would start to see it like this. We'd see how this trend line holds, and then we push out of it, we do break out, we end up ticking lower than that red bar, and it looks like it's trapping back above. But that's just a first entry. I would want to see 2 clear attempts back, especially when the trend is not confirmed. I would just want to see a second entry long off that key entry point, not just a first entry that couldn't even hold at first. And then we push up here, we get this first entry short, second entry short, failure. So you can see this failed second entry, first entry short, second entry short, failure. But it doesn't reach the EMA, and it's also right into these highs right here. You can see that forming right there. So I would avoid that. And here you push back up, you make a new high, you get this first entry long, you push off of it, but unfortunately it is just a first entry. So yeah, I would want to see 2 legs back, a second entry long, not just a first entry long. And then if you look at this right here, from when we launched off of the overnight high, you'll notice we have this second leg up here. So first leg up, break, second leg up. So you can see those 2 legs there. It wasn't quite reached at that point, but I would still want to see 2 legs back, even though we still have that measured move in play. So anyway, we push up here, we get these small corrections that don't reach the EMA, and then here we get this first entry long, second entry long, going pretty sideways. It doesn't reach the EMA. It just keeps on going higher without giving any clear setups, unfortunately. And so now it looks like we're going into a range structure here. So yeah, we got this break right here. So uptrend, break, first attempt at a new high, second attempt at a new high, and then it made a new high and plummeted back down, reached those range highs right there, which, let me get those exact. So yeah, I wouldn't enter on this short right here. You've been going up for a long time. Even though the uptrend has a break and 2 legs at a new high, making a new high, I mean, look how well that EMA had held. The EMA is still going up at that point. It's holding off of it right there, and then it's right into it. I would just wait on a lower high, which it just plummets on down there. But anyway, so that's going to do it for this video. Hope it helped out in some way. Hope you all found it useful, and I'll see you all next time.